which unite to form the common hepatic duct. The common hepatic duct and the cystic ducts unite to form the common bile duct. And secretions from the pancreas will drain via the pancreatic duct to meet the common bile duct at the hepatopancreatic ampulla. All these secretions can then flow into the duodenum for their function, more specifically in the second part of the duodenum. These secretions are controlled by the sphincter of Oddi, which is a muscular sphincter surrounding the hepatopancreatic ampulla. So that's a quick presentation on the anatomy of the biliary tree.
So, hi, my name is Eamon, and I'm a final year medical student at University of Exeter, and also the S.Dots community manager. So today on S.Dots with Eamon, we'll be talking about the Medics.Academy Fellowship program. We have our illustrious guest, Yusuf, who is the Medics.Academy Fellowship program lead, and he'll be taking us through what will happen, and he'll be asking me a few questions. I'll be asking him a few questions. Yusuf, do you want to introduce yourself and just take everything away?
Yeah. So hi everyone. My name is Yusuf. I'm an F2 based down in Worthing currently. Graduated from medicine at Barts in 2019. I've been at Medics.Academy for a while now, but I'm currently in the role of the clinical lead for the fellowship program. So I want to talk a little bit about this with you guys because I think it's a really good opportunity for medical students. Great. So I'm actually going to ask Eamon some questions to start off with because obviously Eamon's a Medics.Academy fellow. So the first thing I wanted to ask you, Eamon, was how did you find out about the fellowship program?
Well, that's a really good question, Yusuf. I think unusually, like compared to everyone else, maybe I'm not sure how it was for everyone. I found out about it basically through Johan. I actually didn't know much about it at all, and then I was doing a project regarding like teaching that was kind of similar to S.Docs, and Johan was like, do you want to start on the fellows program? And that's basically how I found out about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really important because we're very keen to have people that are driven, which is one of the reasons you'll probably find out about it in such a way. What motivated you to join, having seen the program in its structure?
What motivated me to join? I think the main purpose for me was I was running an educational program that mainly involved like peer-led learning, and I kind of wanted to find a way to show my educational resources to a larger and wider audience, and the fellowship program seemed like a really amazing way in order to do that, basically. So that's kind of what implored me to join.
Awesome. Yeah, we're really happy to have you because you've been doing amazing work so far. Since joining the program, what kind of projects have you been undertaking?
So since joining the program, I basically started off as being in charge of webinars and like recordings. So I started basically speaking to various teachers on the virtual ed program as well, outside the virtual ed program, to give teaching sessions, record them, and basically download them on our YouTube channel. And I would then go about editing those videos as well as adding descriptions and then advertising them on the S.Dots program. In addition to that, I've now started the S.Dots with Eamon episodes, which incorporate those videos along with other videos from the other virtual elective events. And those basically go live on the Medics.Academy Twitter, Facebook, as well as go sometimes on the Slack channel, just to kind of inform students. And I believe they kind of have a bigger traction just because they're live on there. I think a bit more interesting, especially with like the intros, outros, etc. Yeah, so I think those are kind of my main roles. My other roles kind of involve now getting involved in market research just to see how the S.Docs is doing, what kind of things the participants really want, and just making different various projects throughout the year, like making a newsletter, and I guess just finding different innovative ways to bring more people to the channel. So I think that's kind of my main roles for S.Docs at the moment.
Yeah, I mean that's really awesome. It sounds like you've been undertaking lots of different kind of projects, and piecing together various kind of skills that you may be able to kind of gain. What skills would you say you've gained having gone through the program so far to the point which you're at?
Well, I think at the moment I feel like there's quite a few. Honestly, I've never edited a video in my life. So actually, when I was asked to edit videos, I was kind of like, I'm not sure how to do this, but I think I've gotten the hang of it quite a bit now. And so I would say video editing is definitely one of the things that I've gained from it. I think one of the more important things that I've gained is from just working with Anna and Adriana, and just like they're such a great team, and also like having Johan as my mentor at the beginning, and also working with Heba and everyone else. And basically like just the teamwork skills that I've learned from just working with so many different people, especially like the SDOS team has just been, I think, quite invaluable, I'd say. So I think that is one of the most important skills. But another skill that I'd say that I've learned is definitely like what Johan has kind of taught is to basically make strategic decisions where you kind of basically undertake activities that will have as much or more of an impact as the amount of work you put into them. So there's no wasted energy into the particular project that you're working on, and it actually manages to serve a purpose. So I think that would be one of the most valuable skills that I've learned.
Yeah, I mean that's really good to hear that you're actually gaining and developing these skills that we feel are very core, not just in medical education and development, but kind of core skills that you'll take throughout your clinical career. Would you say that you've enjoyed the program so far?
Yes, I think so. I mean, like I feel very supported, and I've kind of been in continuous contact with Yusuf, and my current mentor Abby has always been very supportive, and she's always kind of asking like if there's anything else that they can do to help, how everything is going so far. And she gave me like literally like yesterday, she gave me really good advice on kind of how to improve the SDOS with Eamon episodes, and I definitely will take that on board for future episodes and actually use those various activities she recommended to improve
Mm,
the project going along.
great. And is there anything specifically that you'd say that has made the fellowship program quite enjoyable?
That's a really good question. I would say, I guess just working with so many different people and so many different personalities. I mean, I have always quite enjoyed working with a lot of people, and really Medics Academy, between Medics Academy and HLA have just given me the opportunity to like work with so many different like amazing
Mm,
people that I probably would have never spoken to before. So I'd say that would probably be the most enjoyable thing for me. But like
yeah.
obviously the skills that I've learned have that would definitely like come under the enjoyable section of the program.
Well, I mean, it's good to hear that you've been deriving some sort of pleasure from the kind of things that you're doing and interacting with, our wide faculty that we have in the fellowship program and throughout Medics Academy. Um, have you? How much time would you say you spend a week undertaking a project for Medics Academy?
I would say but probably between 2 to 4 hours, I think. I think that would be just a general like average, maybe because
Yeah.
sometimes you just have more things to do regarding like the project, or you have like another activity to undertake to kind of go towards like the aims of the actual like fellowship. So it really does depend, but I would say probably about 2 to 4 hours, I think.
Okay. Okay. And have you had any opportunities to present your work at any kind of international conferences or national conferences, or kind of write up any papers?
So at the moment, have done the local Medics Academy all hands team meeting, which I just presented what I've done so far for the SDOTS program. And then I also did an oral presentation for the FDOCS National Conference a couple of months ago.
Awesome.
So that was quite interesting. But I mean,
Awesome.
obviously, just with so many conferences being cancelled or not happening at all, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, I mean, to get an oral presentation, you know, while you're in medical school is a really big achievement, and it's really good to hear that you've had that. I think I also remember we did a showcase of kind of work to the wider community, the wider Medics.Academy community, which I remember you did as well. But you may have forgotten. you and Jade, I think, did a little piece at the end on FDOCS and SDOCS and what you guys are doing together, which is really good. But yeah, I mean, to get an oral presentation at the, you know, while you're in medical school, you know, it's a really big achievement. And, you know, hopefully you're about to get some more. Lastly, the last question I want to ask you is, would you recommend applying for the fellowship program?
Yeah, I think I would definitely recommend applying the fellowship program. I mean, I would say that it's definitely a very interesting experience, and like I think Yusuf and everyone manages to tailor what you get out of it and what you want to get out of it quite well. So you're not going to be spending time doing something that you hate or anything like that. You're going to be spending time doing something that you're actually interested in. So I definitely recommend.
Okay, great. Well, at this point, myself and Eamon are going to flip the script here, and Eamon's going to be asking me some questions about the fellowship program for yourselves at home to try and get a bit more of an understanding towards. So, Eamon, you can take it away.
Okay, we'll do so. So I don't have as many questions. I just have a few, so this won't be that long. But how does the fellowship program work, Yusuf?
So the fellowship program is essentially a 18-month structured program for medical students and junior doctors. And within those 18 months, we structure into 3 different categories. So we have a 3-month phase, which is kind of your initial phase. You then have a 6-month phase, which is the middle level phase, and then you have a 9-month phase. In those first 3 months, we work with you very closely. So you have a meeting with your supervisor every single week. And they're kind of geared towards making sure that you're gaining some of the skills that you'll be working on. And you'll also be able to kind of experience quite close mentorship, as kind of Eamon described when he was being mentored by Johan initially. So yeah, you'll work closely with our mentors in that first 3 months, and that's really determine whether or not you actually like the fellowship program and if it's for you as well. Because as you mentioned, it's up to 4 to 6 hours of extra work every week, which is a commitment that one has to make. So that's your first 3 months, and we do this by facilitating somebody doing a project. So, you know, in Eamon's example, he's been doing some of this work with SDOCS. We have kind of ample number of different projects that we've kind of pursued, and we can talk about that a little bit later. Then we have our 6-month phase. In this phase, we take our hands off a little bit and let the fellow kind of develop the skills that they've learned in that first phase a little bit further. You know, you'll still be closely mentored, but instead of having weekly meetings, you'll probably have meetings every 2 weeks or so. And again, this is to allow your guys' creativity to really shine through. Sometimes you'll be working in teams in this phase as well, so you might be working with another person. So, for example, I think Eamon is working with Jade on some of the community building aspects of SDOCS and FDOCS together. And Jade's another one of our fellows. And then our last phase is a 9-month phase. So here you're a lot more independent. You know, we more or less take our hands off you and let you guys be really creative. You kind of have monthly meetings, and you know, you'll probably, the chances are you'll be working in a team at this point. You know, working with maybe 2, 3, 4, even other people looking to deliver some sort of learning program. So that's kind of how the 18 months kind of patterns on you. Like I said, you'll be on different projects in each of the different phases. Alongside this, there is the opportunity to pursue a postgraduate certification within medical education, whereby some of the practical stuff that you're doing in your projects, you may be able to take them out and apply them to some of the modules that work for that PG cert. This is something that we kind of tailor to the individual as they're going through the fellowship program. So yeah, that's essentially how the fellowship program works in its structure. Alongside that, we you kind of have those regular mentorship sessions, and we do aim to provide monthly workshops as well as other opportunities for fellows to really get involved, because as I'm sure you could imagine, Medics.Academy is a pretty big organisation with all kinds of stuff going on all the time. So there'll always be opportunities for yourself to get stuck in and develop a new skill or do something completely different alongside that. Yeah.
Oh, so what happens after the 9 months then?
So after the 9 months, you would have completed your fellowship program. You'll gain a certificate for that, and say that you've successfully completed that program. In the longer term, we hope that our fellows, and one of the key kind of distinctions for fellows actually are, we aim to kind of foster this really long-term relationship with them. So it's the reason we have quite a lengthy process with them, trying to build up their skills, because we want them to be involved with the company in the longer term. So this may mean that at the end of the 18-month period, if there are any roles available, or if there are any opportunities to get further involved with Medics.Academy, we would do an evaluation and things like that to determine the outcome, and see if there are any other roles basically that you may be able to fulfill.
Okay, and basically, so it's a 9 months and then 6 months and then 3 months. Is that right?
3 months, 6 months, 9 months.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
So,
yeah.
would you say, how difficult would you say it is to complete the Medics.Academy Fellowship?
So they've had varying degrees of success with fellows. I think we've restructured the program quite recently, and since this restructuring, we've had a much higher retention rate. And I think, if a fellow is willing to put the time in, there's no reason they can't complete the program. As mentioned, it's only between kind of 3 to 6 hours extra, 4 to 6 hours of extra work a week, which realistically is kind of 2 evenings or a day on a weekend, like half of a day on a weekend, which is actually not a huge time commitment, but kind of what you realize is that doing that regularly actually really helps you build up to create a really good project at the end of it. Yeah.
Okay. And how another question, how did you get involved as the Medics.Academy Fellowship lead?
I became a fellow at Medics.Academy back when the fellowship program started in 2018, I think it was. So it was a long time ago now. I'm really showing my age. So this was at the end of my 4th year as a medical student. So I spent the summer working at Medics.Academy on a clinical genetics course. Really enjoyed the fellowship program, and so as we kind of carried on working, and just asked me if I would like to take up this role, and I thought this is something I'm actually really interested in. Got quite keen interest in making sure we can develop students and doctors to be the best versions of themselves, which is, I take a quite big interest in that. So yeah.
And how many fellows have come under you since you've taken on that role?
Under me personally, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't say, but I'd say throughout the whole fellowship program, we've had around 40 fellows either enrolled or have come through completely throughout the program. Yeah. And
as a former fellow yourself, would you recommend being a fellow?
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. I think sometimes it can be hard work, but I'd say one thing you realize is that you need to develop the skills to be able to manage time effectively. I think that's one skill that has been invaluable since joining as a fellow. And being able to manage studying alongside doing other tasks. What you come to realize is once, and I can say this as the junior doctor, you never have enough time to do stuff. So being able to actually figure out how you prioritize your time to actually pursue things that you're passionate about is actually a really, really valuable skill to develop. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yusuf. So how do you apply for the program?
So you apply, we have an application portal. And with that, there are we can post a link with this video, I guess. And with that, you'll see that there are actually 2 tracks within the fellow program. One of them is a technology and education track, which is kind of focusing on some of our products, and there's another track which is a management track, which you're kind of looking at program management. So you either apply for one of the 2 tracks, and you essentially just write a personal statement and send in your CV alongside this. Personal statement, I think, should be 500 words. And after that, we review the applications and then interview the candidates. So the most current application window will close on December the 7th. And, soon after that, we'll be doing interviews with the aim to start towards the middle of January. However, we are flexible alongside people's start times, because we do appreciate students have exams at all kinds of time whenever the medical school decides to throw them at you. And, there's no uniformity across all the medical schools about exactly when exams are and stuff. So yeah, we try to be as accommodating as possible.
Okay, and so what is the difference between the technology and education track and the program management track? I know you gave kind of a summary, but can you give me a little bit more information on that?
Yeah, so the technology and education track, so really the difference is going to be in the projects that you pursue and the teams that you work with. So the projects, I'd say, are, when it comes to the technology enhanced learning track, you'll be producing projects that are related to, so you'll be working on projects that change our overall kind of product structure. So for example, one of our fellows has gone on to begin the work in animating a VR lumbar puncture course, which is really interesting, really cool stuff. And that's kind of utilising technology to push forward education. Another one of our fellows is doing some work related to, well, a few of our fellows actually recently had a course published on negotiations on the Medics.Academy platform as part of one of the HLA resources as well. So that's really interesting, and they had to utilize things such as animating software and kind of really interesting stuff. And that's subtly different from the programs track, whereby you're looking at an overall program and determining how do you actually deliver a program for Medics.Academy. You'll be working more closely with the programs team rather than the tech and the product team and the education stuff underneath it. So you'll probably gain some more skills pertaining to marketing and program management, which is in its own right a different set of skills.
Okay, and my last question was to do with the project. So you basically answered that really well. But just for everyone watching, how do you go about choosing the projects for each specific fellow? What's the process?
So we have our own kind of projects that we're working on, depending on what's kind of important at the time. I think so basically all the different product managers at Medics.Academy, we ask them to come up with projects that they think a fellow would be interested in. And then we have a process of reviewing the projects, putting together learning objectives, looking at how we map them out to the PG cert if a fellow, if they have the potential to be, not all projects can be mapped out to the PG cert just by the definition of the way the project works, but if we can map it out, we see how we would go about mapping it out to a postgraduate qualification. And the other thing that you can that we do is we essentially kind of assign our projects into different what's the word, you kind of have different attributes which each project will, and different skills which you can learn from each project. So one will be, say, marketing, one will be content creation, another one will be, say, working with research and things like that. So after that, when we kind of interview fellows, we try to take down their interests and see what's going to suit them and what they're going to enjoy doing. And as we say, we maintain a close relationship with fellows, and that's really important to us. So we hope to realize if a fellow isn't enjoying their project at present, we see if we can transition them onto a different project. But it's all dependent on availability at the time. But yeah, we haven't had particularly any real dissatisfaction with projects thus far, which I think is it tells us that we're doing something right with our formula. But I'm sure second something goes wrong, I'm sure people will let me know, because I think we try to be as approachable as possible when it comes to those kind of things.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Yusuf. Those are all the questions I have for you. Do you have anything that you'd like to add before we end off?
I think the only thing I'd just like to add is it's a really good opportunity, and if you're passionate about education, medical education, technology enhanced learning, if you want to learn and get involved with a fast growing startup, take the opportunity, put in an application. What have you got to lose, really, by putting in an application?
So you've heard it here first, guys. I definitely recommend it. Yusuf definitely recommends it. So yeah, it's definitely time to start putting in those applications. And remember to join the S.Dot Facebook group to learn about more CV opportunities like these. Also join the S.Dot Slack. We are doing some case discussions, some clinical skills sessions. So really amazing stuff going on there. And also join the Medics.Academy YouTube channel. So thanks for watching, everyone. And thanks for joining us today, Yusuf.
Glomerulopathy or glomerular dysfunction can present clinically with nephrotic syndrome, which includes proteinuria, hyperalbuminemia, and edema, or it could present as nephritic syndrome with proteinuria, hematuria, hypertension, and a risk of an acute kidney injury. The diseases that cause glomerulopathies can present as a purely nephrotic picture, as a purely nephritic picture, or some diseases can present with a mixed picture and include features of both presentations. Purely nephrotic diseases include minimal change disease and membranous glomerulonephritis, both of which start with the letter M. And some purely nephritic diseases include the ANCA-positive diseases, antiglomerular basement membrane disease, IgA nephropathy, and another one is post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, which will bring back an ASOT-positive test or anti-streptolysin O test. So all of them have the letter A involved. Diseases that cause the mixed picture include focal segmental glomerulonephritis, nodular nephropathies, which include amyloidosis and diabetes, and membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis, which classically is right in the center of both syndromes and includes all features of both syndromes. And finally, don't forget lupus, which can present as any type of glomerulopathy, so as a purely nephrotic, purely nephritic, or as a mixed picture as well. So that concludes a quick presentation